Morning, everybody. It's Paul from PB Sports Talk here with you. It's Monday. It's Overreaction Monday. Everybody's friggin' going back to work, and they're upset about their favorite team and whatever it is they had in mind and how they wanted things to turn out. I know it. I used to live it with the Lions for many, many years. Fortunately, as a Lions fan, we don't have to deal with that anymore. I mean, Kevin Stefanski, what the Arizona Cardinals did is very Lion-esque of the years past where you just invent ways to lose. And Amari Mercado, you almost feel bad for the guy. I don't want to give too much of this away, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Bill Belichick, I'm going to talk about in a moment. That's most of what this is going to be about. You know, the Dolphins, it's just time. I said it before the year, he would be fired in season or after the season. And you see a picture of the guy walking down the tunnel. Everybody's got their own fashion statements. I get it. I'm not going to judge a coach based on the way he dresses, but it's just basically an example, folks. And he's a misfit. His demeanor, his entire way he communicates, how he dresses, it's a misfit. It's just the wrong example. Go, like, seriously, go do that, at friggin' Starbucks or something. Just represent yourself well. Look like you're put together. Is not a fashion statement. It's the freaking NFL that has 32 teams. It's one of the most prestigious jobs in the world. Act like it. The Ravens are an absolute mess. It's really seriously time. And again, I'm not going to get into any deep stuff here. I'll cut something later, and I'll get more into the specifics of each of these topics. But it's really, really time for Eric Podesta and the entire Ravens organization to think about John Harbaugh. There's just a point in time where sometimes things just become stale and they become old. Please believe me, this is not about injuries. This is not about Lamar Jackson being out. See the Detroit Lions from last year. Led the league in players on the disabled list with 21 or 22. No effing excuses, period. They're not even competitive. They look disjointed. They look like they don't care. That all reflects on coaching and culture, folks. I mean, I never coached at that level, but I coached. And when your team comes out flat or your team comes out looking disinterested, yes, it's an indictment on the players. It's an indictment on the leadership within the players. But ultimately, it's organizational, and it comes to coaching. And sometimes a new voice needs to happen, and maybe that's what needs to happen with John. I'll talk more about that later. Travion Henderson, anyone who's watched me knows what I said. He's a better running back than Giante. I wanted the Raiders to not take Giante, however you want to say it, at 6. It was Mason Graham. He wasn't available at 6, but you do not take a running back at 6 unless you know he's Barry Sanders, who was 3. And sorry, Ashton, you're not Barry Sanders. You're just not. And a rebuilding franchise, you don't take a high-value pick like that on a running back. You just don't. I mean, you could see it week in and week out that there's problems there. And I'm not saying that Geno Smith was not the right guy. And by the way, everybody chill out on Geno Smith. Like, this is not, I mean, he made some bonehead stuff yesterday. I'm not going to lie. You can't defend that. And you see how upset he was and wanting to throw his helmet. That's frustration. That's a guy who cares. That's a guy who knows he's better than that. But I'm telling you, there's problems within the team that they're just not there yet. And I picked them along with Jacksonville basically to be the most improved teams this year. And that's looking really bad. That's looking really bad. They're a ways away. They are still devoid of talent. And that's just, honestly, you can get a serviceable running back all over the place. You don't spend a 6. And Brady, I'm a huge supporter. You see him on the back of the sign here and the person over his shoulder I'm going to talk about here in a moment. Tom Brady biffed on that. And John Spytek biffed on that. You just don't do it. That's a luxury pick. If you're already established, and I talked about this with the Lions for years, they took Eric Ebron at 10. They took Hawkinson at 8. These are all tight ends. Brandon Pettigrew at 20. I mean, the list is endless of players that they took in the first round and early in the first round, as if they were, the New England Patriots that are a player or two away from winning the Super Bowl. And that's a mistake I think that Brady made. I'm not going to go on too long here. I'll talk about that more later. But Travion freaking Henderson, New England, you won the game, and it's hard to argue with that. But wake the F up. and realize what you have on the bench. On the bench. You see Quinshon Judkins yesterday? Travion Henderson can do that and more. Like, what are you guys thinking? This is McDaniels, who is very good in so many ways, and Vrabel, who's so good in so many ways. This is the Billy Ball thing here. Okay, he's not Ramondre Stevenson, and then you put Gibson in there after Stevenson, or Ramondre Stevenson, after he fumbles the ball. You go to Henderson, he can bust off a run for 13 like that. He can do that all game, folks. Like 6 for 24 yards. His prop was actually 24 and a half yards. I gave that to the public, and it lost by a half a yard. Travion Henderson, if he carried the tote 15 to 20 times, he'd be at 70 to 90 yards a game. Like 5 yards a carry minimum. Like, what are you doing? He can protect. He can run patterns. He's cerebral. He's strong. He's fast. He has amazing hands. Mike Vrabel, wake up. Josh McDaniels, you're in your own way. Wake up. Yes, you're off to a good start on the season. You beat the Buffalo Bills yesterday in Buffalo. Very good. Awesome. Great job. Phenomenal. So why would you stop yourself from being better than that? Like, go to the next step. Go to the next level. He's ready. Big-time college football he played. This moment's not too big for him. All right. Some breaking news that happened this morning. Happy to report. In exactly 1 hour, I will be on with Jason Whitlock and his Fearless podcast at 12. Actually, it's 12:05. Log on at 12:05. I'll be on to discuss Dylan Gabriel, so I'm not going to give any of that away. And I will be on to discuss the continuation of the most mind-numbing thing that you can ever imagine. And boy, though I didn't coach football, I coached basketball, and we coach against these things. And players letting go of the ball before the goal line, you can't make it up. So I don't want to give it away. I'll talk with Jason about that. But join us live at 12:05 on the Fearless podcast with Jason Whitlock. Search it on YouTube. Follow him there. Support Jason. I've been watching him for 30 years, and it's such an honor and a privilege to be on his show. It's kind of surreal. It's almost a pinch me kind of moment. I was on with him Thursday last week talking Shadur, and now we're talking brought on to talk about Dylan Gabriel and the it's not even the dislodging of the ball. It's the dropping of the ball at the goal line. So I'll be talking about that. Please, if you haven't, follow me on X, us on X at PB Sports Talks with an S on the end. YouTube people really stepped up. I mean, shout out to all the YouTube fans. The subs went way up last week after Jason's show. Love that. Please continue. It's kind of been on the back burner, but now that's happened, we'll start to put more content. There's about 435 videos up there. There's a lot of content about a lot of different subjects that I'm very passionate about at PB Sports Talk. That one is without the S. At PB Sports Talk on YouTube, at PB Sports Talks on X. All right, Mr. Hoodie behind me. I got to tell you guys, this is really hard for me. I have been a Bill Belichick, groupie. Like, even though I coached basketball, this is a true story. I studied him relentlessly, and Brady. That's why they're together like that, because they were doing something so special and so unique and so sustainable that I thought, how could I learn from them and implement that into my strategy and into our teams? And so, at that moment, this is like 10, 12 years ago. We're talking 09, 10, 11, 12, in that range, even 14, 15. You're studying what they're doing because they're so successful. And at that time, it's like, all right, who's better? It's Brady, it's Belichick. And you can see one of my videos on YouTube. It's a 1-minute clip. It's a short. Just go on there and search it. Bill Belichick or Tom Brady. It'll pop up where I talk about who's more responsible for the success. At that moment, you think it's Belichick, it's Belichick, it's Belichick. Oh, is it Brady? Is it Brady? Nevertheless, I studied both. That's why they're there. But Bill Belichick he's in some sort of spiral right now. And I don't know, man, emotions. And I've been known to be an emotional guy in my life. I certainly couldn't get on here if I was like a type B personality. It just doesn't work. I am a type A personality. You want to get on a mic like this and you want to talk about, controversial topics. No one's going to listen to me like this, right? It just doesn't work. So Bill, hard to argue that he's the greatest coach ever. I mean, it's really hard to argue that. The success speaks for itself. His schematic, he changed the game. Tom Brady wasn't defending Peyton Manning. It wasn't his system that was defending and making Peyton Manning look silly year after year after year. You got to give the guy his due. But whatever the falling out was behind the scenes, and folks, I think it was going on for quite a few years. It was not just the last 2-3 years where we started to hear about it. It started to leak out more and more, but it was there for years. And I think it came down to who gets the credit. And I think, Kraft was always, Brady was his guy more so than Belichick, even though it was Belichick's show. And again, Tom Brady wasn't drafting those guys either. Tom Brady wasn't scouting and recognizing talent way down in the way that they did that. And the system where a guy plays for 4 years and he contributes and he grows and evolves, and then they moved him on because they didn't pay big money, and they just kept the train rolling by drafting, developing, executing. Next, drafting, developing, executing. Next. It was this assembly line of players, and Brady was one of the few that they paid all that money to. So you got to love Bill for that. But and again, I don't like to judge people's personal life. I really don't. And whatever he does in his, intimate, romantic life, who he chooses to date or marry or engage, that's on him. But to the extent that it's affected him, like on the field, what husband or wife in any sport, I've never seen it. I've not, after a Super Bowl, after a big victory, Kurt Warner would always go kiss his wife. You see a lot of players do that pregame, but they're in the stands. Like Kurt Warner's wife was always in the first row. And I think most of the time we saw him go up to her was after the game. I could be wrong, but it's like she's on the sidelines and she's running the program and she's handling all this and she's dressed, basically inappropriately. And she's, this is old news, but it's all relevant to what I'm saying because there's a pattern here. It's just not even logical type thinking. And she's, basically the gatekeeper for the interview with 60 Minutes. And she's up behind him on the sidelines, during or after a game. It's almost like, and I don't even like to say this, I feel bad about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Can we go home now? That's what it feels like. It's like, what is he allowing? I don't know if generally he's not a guy who cares too much about what you think or about what I think. We're on to Cincinnati, right? His famous line. He doesn't get too wrapped up into that, which I respect that. But you can't be so out of touch the way he has become. And a lot would argue that he was out of touch, for a long time with the media and that, but it's on such public display now. And then 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, whatever, that he was banning, New England from scouting and UNC players, as if there's anyone to scout from UNC. Seriously. The whole decision to go to college and then the decision to go to UNC. All right. So this is like legitimately, this is an NIL area. This is booster heaven if ever before. This is, money. It's all about money. The whole landscape of college football has changed. Yes, it's spread out, but you're going to go to UNC to do what? You're 70, whatever years old. You don't have 15, 10. You don't have even 6, 5. You don't have 5 years to rebuild this thing. You've got nobody over there. And like it or not, and I know a lot of people give him heat for this, but I don't. Like your first off season, first foray basically into college football, and you're going to go build a team to compete on a national level and compete with, and Clemson's been horrible. Boy, they sure looked pretty good the other day. Dabo Sweeney resurrects the ship, and now watch. This will help them because sometimes you just need to make a bucket in basketball and it gets your rhythm going. Sometimes you just need a W to get away from the stench of losing and the stench of that way that feels. And we always coached about that and talked about that as coaches. It isn't even a product that is worth watching. And I didn't have an expectation of it to be. but it's awful. And now apparently, allegedly, he's banning staff from posting or reposting anything that has to do with Drake May, who is a UNC alum. Bill, what are you doing, man? Are you that hurt with the Patriots' exit and the fact that Tom Brady went and won a Super Bowl without you? And then you, after Brady, I hate to say it, it was a dumpster fire in New England. The roster became shattered. He became a laughingstock. The Mac Jones, I don't know what happened. You lost Josh Daniels at the time, so that was probably part of it. You put Patricia and Judge as your offensive coordinators. That was part of it. That was a horrible decision. Like, you're going to go put a defensive guy, his whole entire life, basically. You're going to put a defensive guy as your offensive coordinator. How? At the professional level? Maybe you transfer somebody at the college, high school and college level, and even lower level college football. When I say lower level, I'm not talking about a national power. That's not a move you would make. It's not as if there's not enough guys. And maybe, you know what? To be truthfully honest, he had his tree of coaches. Maybe not a lot of people wanted to come coach for him. Maybe it's that. He burned through a lot of guys. Rigid personality, very almost dictatorial about the way that he was. But the behavior is so erratic. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it's like I am legitimately thinking about getting a different sign. I can't stomach the way he's acting. I just can't. And Tiger Woods, you see him on my sign in the back. Boy, we know what he did. And Kobe's up there, and we know what he did. Not everybody up there is perfect, but it's like, we all have moments in life, but my man is spiraling, and I don't know how much time he has to fix it. So I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of embarrassed now to have that up there, and he's square in the middle of that, the sign. And that's by design. Like, I put them, like, I could put several guys in the middle, don't get me wrong, but I figured I wanted him in the middle because he meant a lot to me as a coach. I mean, I really respected what he did, and I so can't respect what he's doing. Like, he's causing commotion everywhere. Why would a player, it's shot now. I believe it's totally shot, and I don't think he can get it back. Maybe there were some players before going into all of this. Hey, it's Bill Belichick. I want to go play for Bill Belichick. Maybe he'll give me a line to the NFL. Maybe I'll have an advantage that way. If you're a young player coming out of high school and you're being recruited, why the hell would you go to play for Bill Belichick at the University of North Carolina, which isn't even a football school? Sorry, Drake May. And there are some other players that came out of that school, but it's not known as a football school. It's known as a basketball school. And perhaps, the AD over there, who Belichick, I think, has a little bit of a relationship with, perhaps they thought that they could, kind of make it half basketball and half football school. That's not going so well. And quite frankly, I don't think it's going to get much better. I think you're going to see people stay away. Literally. I think that there's enough choices out there. If you're good enough, there's enough choices in schools that you could go to. And even the guys who aren't technically of the upper 5, 4, and 5-star recruits, and there may be, a middling 3-star, there's a lot of schools that you could go to that will accept you that don't have UNC names. There's schools like South Florida. There's a lot of Troy. There's a lot of competitive schools, even MAC schools. There's a lot of competitive schools out there. Now, they're not on the national, FBS, like Carolina is in there, and the big name behind Carolina and all of that. I get it. But, South Florida's on the up. I don't want to name all the schools, but there's schools like Louisville and South Carolina and all over the country. Like, why would you go play for him? It's a shit show, and it's getting worse. He's not stopping it. He's continuing it. And it sounded like Vrabel tried to say, hey, Belichick was saying he was banned from the facility at New England. And Vrabel came out and said, no, he's not banned. And I really believe that Robert Kraft has got his hands on this. That's just or his son, Jonathan, or both. I believe that they're involved in this some kind of way, and there's bitterness there. There's really hard feelings there. And I believe they take Brady over him in terms of, the hierarchy. And Kraft loves Brady. Everybody knows that. That was like a son to him. So he's going to be partial to him. And I think Bill's chapped about that. Chapped? Chapel Hill? I don't know. But it's sad to watch. It's sad to see. It's sad to see it continue. And you know what, Bill? The standing that you once had, you don't have it anymore. You're not in a position of strength anymore. You're in a position of weakness. And no one's going to take you. People questioned what you were doing as it was, which could be unfair. I mean, Atlanta, I think they turned him down. The Atlanta Falcons, I think they turned him down. He's abrasive. He's not easy to work with. He's very rigid. And I think Arthur Blank in the group over there didn't want to deal with it. I mean, that's their choice. That's their franchise. So, Bill Belichick, think about that for a moment. People didn't want him. Maybe they saw it just lasted so long in New England, and maybe people saw, what we see bits and pieces of on the outside, that they just didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to take it on. They didn't want to take the hubbub and, Bill's over in Atlanta now, or Bill's over in Miami, or wherever else he considered going. Maybe it just got old. And then you go to college. And then you involve yourself with this woman who is 27 years old, and he's 72, and she's hanging around the facility. Like, I'm embarrassed for him. It's like, I want to reach out. Bill, can we talk? And as far as I heard, there were some of the players that tried to reach out to him and maybe lend a helping hand. I don't know what you can't say a midlife crisis, right? He's older than that. But terrible to see those reports yesterday that his staff. Here's another thing: if you're a coach, why would you want to be on his staff? Not just a player. Why would you want to be on his staff? Who wants to go around to work every day? And especially, no offense to people out there, but sports people at this level, like, they're invested. And a lot of people argue that you don't need to be that much, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18 hours a day, where you're vested in this type of stuff. And people don't want to be around a freaking circus. If you want to watch a circus, you could go someplace and watch a circus. But you don't want to have that with Bill Belichick, supposedly, your leader, your mentor, your head coach. Just a bad deal all the way around. It's like, I almost don't even know how to explain it, because it's bizarre. And I don't even use the word bizarre. That's really bizarre that I'm using the word bizarre. You cannot even put your finger on what the hell he's doing and why. It's almost like he's lost it. You're alienating everybody. You're ruining your legacy. You're going to be out the door. You're going to be known more for all of this than what you did, the good that you did. Unfortunately, that's how it works. And people won't ever forget all the Super Bowls and the great that he did. Don't get me wrong, but it's the last impression on somebody's mind. I don't know. I think I'm gonna change the sign or get a cutout or something and lay it over it. I don't know. Maybe I can do something with AI. But Bill Belichick, pull your damn self together. All right, last thing here before I let you guys go. Yesterday, we won 11 in a row for everybody out there. 4 o'clock, we went undefeated. I think it was 9. Yeah, it was 8 or 9 that we gave. And then 2 or 3 won on the Sunday night game until we started losing some of the prop picks. So I could just tell you that usually when you go on a run like this and the prediction runs about outcomes of players like Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Travion Henderson, and there's many more. Caitlin Clark, when she got hurt, I said she'd be out for the year. And people are like, you're crazy. The league needs her. And I said, no, there's something there that you guys don't know. She's hurt. They pushed her. Anyways, I called that too. There's a lot of things. You could see it all up on there. But usually when I get on a roll like this, I'll run off a whole bunch of others like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Last year was 15, 17, and then 15 back-to-back weeks. So if you like to do that for entertainment purposes only, I should have everything up. It's a great game tonight. and it's a prop player's dream, like dream. These are two teams that it's dreamy. It will be an offensive display. I'm going to lay out for you. I'm actually going to do for you, which I don't normally do. I'm going to do the total. I will do the over-under. Not the total and the over-under is the same thing. Hello. The point spread, the total, and then the prop picks. And this will be a fun game Monday night. This is a great thing. I'll have those up by 5:36. I want to see a couple of things as it goes throughout the day and the way the line moves before I put my name to it. So look out for that, and hopefully you can tail me and turn out to some good things. Again, Jason Whitlock, I'll be on. I gotta get off air here, and I'll be on in like 40 minutes. And I'll let it all out about Dylan Gabriel. I'll let it all out about before the goal line. And then probably an hour or so after that, I'm going to get on again, and I'm going to talk about some of these topics because they're kind of burning, and it's Monday, and it's Overreaction Monday. So everybody, thanks again. YouTube at PB Sports Talk. I do a lot of live. I'm going to keep doing lives. Our shows every Saturday, main show, Luke and I, but I'm going to keep doing a lot of lives during the week, so keep an eye out. Hit the notify button or click the notify button so you get notified on X at PB Sports Talk, on YouTube at PB Sports Talk. Follow on X and smash the subscribe button. We're getting really close to an important threshold in our growth. That 1,000 subscriber mark is a game changer for us. I'll get more content up there. And again, thank you. And Jason Whitlock, 12:05, I'll be live on the Fearless Podcast. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Have a great Monday. Bye-bye now.